Good morning, my name's Raymond. This is going to be a documentary on shipbuilding. I've been a model maker for quite a number of years, and I thought today that I would put a collection of the ships that I have built and give a little bit of a speech about each one and what it entailed. The first ship that I'm going to show today is a container ship called the Trian Maresque. These ships built in Japan in the 1990s. This is primarily a container ship, and it measures just over 1.6 metres in length and has a width of 318 millimetres wide. The scale of this ship is 1 to 100. It's a Dean Marine kit. It's a beautiful kit, which it's not the first Dean Marine kit which I've constructed. Dean Marine is a shipping company in England, in Peterborough, England, who do construct model ships, and they provide them as kits. Now, the kits are not just a matter of parts, gluing them together, part A to part B to part C. No, it's not like that. You're provided with a full detail plan of the boat, and it comes with a fairly comprehensive leaflet. It gives you the basics of how you will construct this ship. You're provided with a fiberglass hull, of which it will need sanding. You've got to determine where your levels, where your decks are going to be, and it's all that sort of information. And of course, with it comes a whole set of alloy fittings and or moulded plastic fittings, which go to complete the detail. A little bit about Dean Marines. They're an excellent quality model. Excellent. It's museum quality model. The very first Dean Marine one that I did, which I will be in this series talking about, was the HMAS Britannia, the Queen's yacht, which has since been decommissioned. But at the moment, let's talk a little about this one. What can I say? There's a lot of intricate work in this particular model, and which I'm now going to give a little bit more in-depth detail and vision of this model. This is a little bit of the in-depth detail. We'll start here right at the very front of the ship with you've got the anchors and the chains. I've done a few modifications that I've included, like I've got this little section here that I'm just pointing to. That's all my I put the holes for the ropes. I'll just show in the hull here. That was my idea. That's where the ropes fit. I've made here these walkways in between the container ships. I've put the little ladders here. I don't know if one can see the detail here. The crane. This is a crane that for loading and unloading the container ships, and it's actually fixed to it's on rails that it travels along the boat here, along the ship. It's on rails. Now the rear section, the accommodation, the bridge and the navigation section, this is where all the work, very, very fine work, is here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of footage. As you can see, there's stairways and handrails, and here they at the very rear section of the boat here, we've got where all the storage for all the ropes and accessories, the life raft. Here it's actually a beautiful model. I have fitted the propeller and the rudder. I've also made a special stand for this. That's all made out of wood and French polished. So looking at the model, it really is a total museum model. So this is, I can thoroughly recommend this to anyone wishing to make this model. So summing up on this model, the degree of difficulty, now that's fairly important to discuss that. This certainly would not be a project that you would tackle without an experience in model shipbuilding. The notes supplied, whilst they will assist, a lot of you really need to rely on previous past experiences in building easier kits. There's also a beautiful catalogue that Dean Marine have with a picture of all the different model boats that they have. They have a beautiful selection. But as I say, there is a degree of difficulty, and anyone tackling this on their own without just relying on the notes that are supplied are going to find this model fairly difficult to build without that previous knowledge. But to Dean's Marine, it's a credit on this model. It's a beautiful model, and I'm so happy. How long did it take to build? It took 18 months to build. So, and that's not, I don't work at it every day. All the painting's been done by spray painting. They do supply the decals, and which I've fitted to the boat. And as I say, it's a beautiful, beautiful model, museum quality model by Dean's Marine. Thank you. Continuing with my series on the construction of boats, kits, whatever, this particular model is called the Tessicoa. Just a little bit about this boat. It was built in 1985 by the Allied shipbuilders in Vancouver, Canada, and primarily it was built for the construction, maintenance and repair of buoys and docks and other marine structures in the numerous small harbours along the British Columbia Pacific coastline. The scale of this boat is 1:32. The length is 845 millimetres and a beam of 240 millimetres. It is a twin screw buoy maintenance vessel. I acquired this a number of years ago from a gentleman who I used to belong to a ship modelling club, and he built, this is a Robbie, R-O-B-B-E kit, a Robbie kit. I acquired it from him. He had commenced the construction, but he found it too difficult to continue. Upon taking it over, I found that he had made some fundamental errors. Again, this is what I was saying before about building these boats without previous experience. Although this boat comes with a very beautiful, detailed instruction manual, I think somewhere along the line the gentleman made a few errors, and they increased, the errors sort of multiplied upon each other to the point that he couldn't continue. So I took over, sorted out with the errors, recommenced again, and here we have the finished product. I found it's a beautiful model. it was a lot easier to work on simply because of the scale being 1 to 32. What also I found very impressive was a very intricate crane that there is, which comes actually as a separate kit with the boat. And here we have this boat. As I said again, and I can only repeat that numerous times, you need it was a relatively simpler kit than the previous one, the container ship, but nevertheless it required basic knowledge of model ship construction. What I'm now going to do, I'm now going to take a closer view of this twin screw and show you all the intricate work that is involved. Thank you. Well, this is a close-up of this twin screw. Let's have a look at the twin screws on the rear. As we can see, yes, there's 2 propellers and 2 rudders. Starting with the rear, that's the crane, that with a very intricate crane for lifting buoys out of the water and other miscellaneous. Here we have the a rubber ducky with an outboard motor as well. Looking here, very fine work, handrails, stairs, buckets, radar at the radar here, also moving around to the front. Now what I've actually done inside, I don't know whether you can see, I've got screens and other navigation wheel. So I've actually put some interior fittings in there as well. I've got a set of stairs that are leading to the door just here that I'm just pointing to now. That door, the rails, very nice scale to work with. Got the windscreen wipers on the windows, searchlights just going around here as I walk around. There's the that's a very good close-up picture of this boat. Now, summing up this boat by Robbie. Now, this is the only model that I've ever built by Robbie. This Robbie, of course, this is another English. It's made in England. Look, what can I say? I think it's a beautiful model. It's probably the only model I've done by Robbie, simply because what they offer, it's not what I really. I tend to prefer much bigger boats, but nevertheless, it's different. It has, to me, it was a little bit similar like a tug, and it was enjoyable. And of course, it is a museum model. So this is the Tessicoa by Robbie, and it came with a beautiful illustration which I'm holding up, and the basics of the boat, Tessicoa 2, which I've kept for future reference and as a history of this construction. Thank you. Hi again, continuing with my series of construction of model boats, ships. This one recently completed about a month ago. It's an LPG, liquefied petroleum gas carrier. I was attracted to this one simply because it's totally different to what I've built before. It's a Dean's Marine. It's a Dean's Marine product, and having built two previously Dean's Marine products, I knew that I'd be looking at something that would be of good quality. Well, it certainly was, and may I say this straight out, this one was a challenge. Very, very difficult, I found. Although there is a YouTube clipping of this model boat when it first went on display just a couple of years ago in England, and newly constructed. Let me say, they say it's reasonably straightforward. Well, having built quite a number of boats, I would say actually 6 prior to this one, I would say that statement would certainly need revising as to being straightforward. What made this construction somewhat difficult was a number of factors. The parts supplied weren't, in my opinion, clearly labelled. There was no order of construction. It's what on this occasion what Dean's Marine did do, and which I really needed to very, very heavily consult at all times, well, they supplied a DVD with approximately 400 photos that were taken during the construction. The photos, however, upon being enlarged, looking for details, are of very poor quality, very low number of pixels. So when enlarged upon a screen, the image becomes blurred, and if one is really trying to get the finer details, well, I found this very difficult. What they did do also, they supplied a full-scale map, which I'm just going to hold up now, so that one can view it. Look, this was the full-scale map. There were numerous errors which I discovered and did contact Dean's Marine, which they said that they would adjust. This in itself made the construction, to me, made it difficult. Also, the other thing that I really liked very heavily was a YouTube video of when this model was built at the exhibition in Peterborough in England. Is a model of this boat. That is perhaps, so I had to rely on 3 sources. One was the YouTube video of this boat. Again, it's not something that I could focus on and get detail clearly. Secondly was the CD-ROM with the 400 photos. And thirdly was the plan of this boat. I guess what we'll now do is I'm now going to take a close-up video of this boat, and so I'll say thank you, and I'll proceed now with a close-up video of this boat. This is a close-up of the Epic Minorca. Here I've made a few modifications the way that I felt it would suit this boat. Again, I've put holes here to enable the ropes that tie the boat. The stanchions here, well, these are pre-stamped. These are they were not supplied with the kit. All the piping here, they supplied just electrical wire, but I didn't find that suitable for all instances, and I've used other plastic piping to do the cabling. The rear section, of course, that's the accommodation and the navigation. Yeah, look, there's a lot of detail there, but this is a much smaller scale, which required a lot of fine work. I'm just moving around to the rear, to the rear of this. I've put my extra finishing touches. I've added ropes in certain places, turnbuckles, winches. That all these were not part of it. I'm going to the other side now. I supplied my own ladders for this, which I felt they supplied little brass ladders which were very intricate, requiring a lot of work. So these are some of the decals that I've done. I've put handrails in most places, handrails, doorknobs. This is all my detailing. That's not part of the kit. That's the walkway. This is a stand that I've constructed. It's not the one that is supplied with the boat. So just standing back and getting an overall profile on the boat. There it is there. A beautiful museum model. Continuing again with the Epic Menorah, the old liquefied petroleum gas carrier. This particular, what I wanted to say, just a number of things. I haven't given the measurements of this boat. The length of this boat is just over a metre, 1.1 metres long, and the beam, the width, is 165 millimetres. The variation that I've done to this boat, the stanchions that are supplied, they supply a roll of wire which it is supposed to be cold stretched and fitted to the stanchions that are supplied. I preferred the pre-stamped stanchions already made, which meant that I could paint them prior to installing them on the boat. That is one major variation that I did. I took certain liberties, the way that I've included doors here leading to the forecastle, underneath the forecastle. I've also got door handles, which is again I've got ropes in coils, both at the front and the rear. That I've done all these modifications. So here we have. So in conclusion, it also appears in the Dean's Marine Catalogue, which I'm just holding up here as Epic Menorah. Yeah, it's a beautiful picture, but to construct something like this, as I said before, you do require a knowledge of boat building, and it certainly was not a straightforward build. It was, I found, a difficult build only because of the lack of detailed information available on the build. Nevertheless, it is a credit to Deegs Marine, another beautiful model, and all I can say is I enjoyed every minute building this model, and I feel very proud of its construction. Thank you. Hi again. This is the fourth model. This is actually the original, very first model that I built. The Calypso. The boat from Jacques Cousteau. Let me tell you first of all a little bit about this particular boat, and primarily first about Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau is a French gentleman. I don't know whether he's still alive. He may not be. He was very much an environmentalist and also a marine researcher and explorer. In 1950, Jacques Cousteau purchased an 80-year-old American minesweeper, and after extensive modifications and alterations, a fully equipped ocean exploration vessel emerged. A little bit about this first model. This was in the window. A model of this built was many years ago in Hobbyco in George Street in Sydney, and I decided that I would like to build it, and so I purchased it. As I said, it is Billings again, that is an English company, and I was very, very pleased because the construction details were very well presented. They were illustrated with the parts were listed, and but again there was a certain amount, always having been a hands-on person, I decided, but I do remember frequently taking a trip into town and looking at the model and then coming back home after sorting out what I was confused. So yeah, it's and this evolved over a period of time. The scale of this is 1 to 100. It's so it was a fairly easy model to work with the parts being fairly big. One of the interesting things that there is a bulb right at the front at the bottom of the ship here, and there are portholes, if one could use that term, and that's where there is a staircase inside in the original Jacques Cousteau boat, and people are in the bottom there and they can explore the depths. They also had a diving which they would drop. It's a little bit like a flying saucer on this crane here, and would be dropped to a certain height, and at the bottom, I don't know whether you can see, but there are quite a number of windows where once it's lowered, you could lower it to a depth and you could do another form of exploration. We also, on board, he had a helicopter on a stand. And so here we have the Jacques Cousteau boat. It took me quite a while to build. It's certain parts I needed to bend timber, like at the rear here, which I found fairly tricky. I added a few touches with ropes and other paraphernalia. You'll notice that being Jacques Cousteau, being French, we have the French flag. So this was my very, very first attempt at building a model ship, and having built that one, I was so happy that inspired me to continue And now I've all up, I've now built 7, of which this is the 4th one that we've just had a detail. I'm just going to take now just a close detailed view of all the parts. So we'll do that next now. This is the Calypso. Looking at the finer details and the construction of this boat. I thought I'd come up close. The stairs, well, this is the Calypso standing back, and we can see the actual boat in its construction. The Calypso by Jacques Cousteau. Thank you.